Somebody lift those hands tonight.
It's a new rise.
I need you to speak it over your own life
It's
tonight.
a new rise.
It's a new rise.
Hello, 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 and welcome to the Propel Deep Dive. I'm Megan DiMartino, and I am thrilled to have you here today with us, my guest, Ruthanna Sonntag, and I. And before I invite Ruthanna in, I'd like to just share a little bit about what the Propel Deep Dive is and what we do here. I have been doing a live and podcast since 2020. It started as Unique Leaders, and I brought in fabulous people as I do today, and they share their stories of hope and possibilities and what they have done throughout their lives, starting from the young, Ruthanna. And so they will share their stories where you are going to see yourself in it, because it is not just exclusive to us doing things of this nature. Everyone, and make no mistake that I am not special, and nor is Ruthanna. We are here doing our journey, and this journey includes you. So we're thrilled to have you. Now, if you missed this live, you can go back, and if you were with us, live, you can also go back to YouTube, to the Megan DiMartino Propel channel, and really listen to this again, because it's going to have so many nuggets of information and wisdom that you will glean from it. And then also, I invite you to join me on a journey on the Propel community. And the Propel community is a robust community of people that get together, and I share with you a daily, as I call it, the daily inspiration and motivation and encouragement, to a weekly newsletter, to events that I do throughout the year with others like Ruthanna, and bring information to you, and many other things in between. So go to, and I'm sure the link is here, but it's propel.megandimartino.com/info, and join the Propel community. It is no charge, and I know you will be blessed by it. So without further ado, I would like to invite you to meet my dear friend, Ruthanna Sonntag.
Hello, thanks for having me, Megan.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Ruthanna, since we've met last year, I've just been so impressed by you personally, everything about you, your heart, your spirit, your joy, but also your journey. And that is what the Propel Deep Dive is about. It really is. It's about our guests, listening to other stories, because I'm sure you would agree, especially today, there is such a epidemic of, first of all, overload of information. How do you discern and disseminate that information, knowing that it's for you? And then also people saying to themselves, I've heard that before. How do I do this really? How can I, gain a trajectory of my dreams, goals, and aspirations? So that's really what the Propel Deep Dive is. It's really having a conversation with people like yourself who've had years of journey, and break it down into small, manageable parts so that they can see themselves. So with that said, share a little bit about young Ruthanna, where you grew up, and what was your vision and mission and passion at a young age that propelled you on?
Oh, I love that question. Well, thank you for setting me up and your kind words. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I am from Akron, Ohio, home of LeBron James. Most of us know him as an all-star, and it's the rubber capital of the world. So I really love living here, in Akron. And I grew up with three brothers, grew up in a homeschooled Christian household, and was just brought up in a way that I just was fascinated with life. I was fascinated with how things work, how they break down, how they function. I have three brothers, so if I wasn't fast and if I wasn't edgy, I didn't I didn't get to eat, or I didn't get to play.
Right.
Learn how to be more of a tomboy and rough and tumbly and things like that. But that helped to facilitate like a curiosity in me of how things work and how they work well. I think I was always trying to outsmart my brothers and find the faster way, and which really led to my journey of how I got to where I'm at. I eventually, part of my story is my father passed away when I was a little girl, and that was really hard for our family. Obviously, we lost our dad, and I found myself in feeling successful in school. It was an area where I was able to find myself and was able to feel confident and competent in my abilities, my skills. My father was somebody who edified and encouraged those things in me. And with his passing, I didn't have anybody that really would pour into me like my dad did, except I did find a lot of affirmation and validation through my academic success. So my mother was able to put us out of middle school or out of homeschool into charter schools. And again, I just began to devour knowledge and love learning. I just love learning and continue to find out how things work and how things work well. And I realized from a young age, maybe having 3 brothers and just with my friend group, that I was like a natural encourager and a cheerleader for others. And I found that if I can help other people love learning or help break information down and make it easy, simple, and fun, and help them find truth or find solutions and find answers, that was like my supreme passion. Like, let me do that. Let me encourage and empower people through giving them not only knowledge, but structure and support. Eventually, a long story short, I ended up becoming an educator for 8 years in the public school system here in my city. And I found personal development after, amongst my years of being a teacher. There's professional development, but then there's personal development, and they are quite different. And I fell in love with personal development all again, fell in love with developing myself and identifying clarity on my vision, my goals, habits that are going to help me be successful. And then turning around and teaching people around me the same tools and skills so that they could experience success for themselves, which eventually led me to where I'm at now. No longer teaching inside the traditional classroom, middle school math and science. Now I'm teaching people success principles as a life coach, as a speaker, and I'm working on my first book.
Wow. So let's go back to essentially, I mean, it makes all perfect sense of that evolution, perfect sense. And even to the losing of your father, meaning that, like you said, he was a great encourager and affirmed you. And therefore you sought out that same encouragement and affirmation through academics. Now, let's spend a minute there before we go on to today. Would you say, in your experience, that the kids, let me back up. I have 2 daughters, and they are older than you. And back in the day when they were, as a parent, I should say, from 0 to, let's say, going to college, I was very clear on, wanting to expose them to, give them not only an education that would be a foundation, but to encourage them to explore. Like you said, you were a great explorer. Do you find today with kids being on the screens all the time, that where does that fit into today?
I think that we're not facilitating exploration. I think we're programming and lulling people to sleep. I think that we're programming people to be lazy and to trust systems that may not deserve your trust.
Amen. And so that is my, 30,000 feet without children observation. But I am a researcher of sorts, and motivational as well. And so I see that very clearly, and some children that are around me that it's a very dreadful situation, because then the other piece to it is that the parent who, let's say, are my daughter's ages, which are 40s and early 50s, and then your age, really, and let's talk about your contemporary, that they, and because we're speaking to our guests, okay, I want this to be an interactive conversation, Ruthanna, with our guests who are watching this tonight, as well as, subsequently on YouTube and on the Propel Deep Dive, because all of these, by the way, didn't say this in the intro, but all of the archived segments are on the Deep Dive. Okay, I mean, on the Propel community. So people do watch these again and again. And so from your contemporaries to a little bit older, are they waking up to saying, holy moly, guacamole, what have I done? What do I need to do?
I think so. So, and being in the education system, I saw this firsthand.
Mhm.
If you look at our current system,
Mhm.
it's from the industrial age. And if you look around, are we in the industrial age? No. So the purpose of school, which was established in the industrial age, is to help you be sober, docile, compliant, and punctual. Well, those are some okay skills to have, but they're not top tier in our current reality, in our current society.
Right.
We need different skills. We need different different abilities and modalities to operate and function in life and thrive versus just barely scraping by, which was one of the things. That's where I fell in love with personal development.
Mhm.
I was observing, obtaining, and becoming more proficient at skills that were actually going to move me forward in life
Mhm.
versus like keeping me stuck and stifled. I realized quickly in the education system that I wasn't, you could only advance so far.
Mhm.
And you still were capped. You still were capped with your time commitments, your geographic commitments, as well as your ability to earn income. And
Mhm.
I just knew, God told me one day, he's like, I put a millionaire inside of you. And I remember thinking, I don't know if the classroom is the thing that's going to bring it out. I can't see how this leads to producing a millionaire. And so I started to discover and think about, like, wow, I started to explore what are ways that God could use the skills that he's given me. How could I use the gifts he's given me to produce wealth?
Mhm.
And that comes from adding value to the world. And I was like, I don't know if my current job is going to allow me to do that. And I think a lot of the programming in our world has to do with, just get a job, just get a good job, and then work long enough and save just enough to hope that you can live off it for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's the best way that we should be leading the next generation, that we should be educating, equipping, or empowering. And so what I've discovered amongst my journey is there's a lot that's not taught.
Yes. Amen, sister.
And I want to be the one that, again, is reaching back and empowering and educating and equipping those that are my peers,
Mhm.
maybe a couple years older than me. I coach
Sure.
a large amount of people that are years older than me, decades older than me.
Sure.
And then I also have the privilege of coaching kids to teach them those things that are not taught. So they have the skill set, the mindset, and the tool set that they need to succeed. Because what I was learning in those development conferences, I found was more valuable than what I had received in school or as a teacher, what I was teaching. And I don't know about you, but that didn't sit right with me. And with integrity, I had to do something different.
Yes. I just wanted, before we leave this, because I don't think that many people, Ruthanna, really have connected the dots with this. But what you said about the industrial age, and we're in the information age, and people speak about that very clearly if you listen to any thought leader. But on the other side of the coin, to connect the two with education, and the education system has not changed. And so it's dreadful. And so what would you suggest to parents with their children today? How if they don't have the ability to take them out of the public school system and go to a charter school like you, or private school, or homeschool, what would you suggest they do?
This is like my favorite question. Thank you for asking. You train your children to be a CEO and have CEO skills. That means no matter what environment they are in, they are looking at a few things. One, what can I get out of this and how can this make me better? Number two, they're looking for problems. We want to be problem finders so we can be solution creators. Like money follows value. How do you get value? You solve problems. So look at what you can get out of a situation. How is this working for me? How can this make me better? This is a victory mindset versus a victim mindset.
Right.
Number two, be a value hunter. How can I add value here? And that's how you send your child into any environment, a church service, a community service, and a place of where a store, anywhere in the marketplace, school. This is how you set up your children for success. And then you also equip them with coaching. Give them what you didn't have access to that you wished you had access to. I have a program called Success Club where I do just that. I educate, equip, and empower young people to think, speak, and act like champions, to adopt a champion mindset, and to speak like a champion, and then to act like a champion, because your mind, your mouth, and your manners matter. And those aren't things that were being facilitated in the school system. Our school systems teach you what to think, not how to think. There's a difference right there. Teach your children how to think. Our school system teaches you what to say, but not how to speak. Teach your children how to communicate, how to articulate, how to identify, how to clarify, and share what's going on in their head and their heart. And our school system teaches you how to behave, but not necessarily how to act.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between just knowing the what and then knowing the how.
Yes.
When you can learn the how, you have a skill, you have a competency, and confidence comes from competence. So when you practice these skills and you can facilitate raising up young people in them, and they can practice on purpose, their life will be dramatically different than their peers, as well as they will surpass you, which is what your hope is as a parent, right? We always say, you want your children's floor, you want your ceiling to be their floor. I love that. I just think there's two things that have to go along with that. Number one, teach them everything it took you to get to the ceiling.
Exactly.
They're not just going to pop out of the womb knowing. Education is on purpose. You have to practice and preach and teach and live it on purpose. And you get to go first. As the parent, you're the supermodel. You are whatever you model, you make normal. So it's not
love it.
Gone are the days of do as I say, not as I do.
Right.
No. My friend, I love you so much. I want to tell you the truth. Your kids are going to do exactly what you do and then some. So what walks in you is going to run in them. The best thing that you can do is live by example, and then position your children to prosper by getting them in environments where they are hearing truth, where they're being educated, they're being equipped, and those seeds are taking root. So teach them what did it take you? What was your process that propelled you? How did you get to where you are? What did it take you to your ceiling? And then what is it that you have a vision for? What's your vision for your child? Hopefully it's bigger, better, faster, stronger than what your vision is for you. And tell them, champion them, speak life over them. Set them up like a CEO, but then empower them. Be their cheerleaders. Hire them to have, hire coaches, tutors, support systems, and just really give them the tools that they need so that they can be extremely successful.
Amen. I have had the blessing to be in your company at several of Summer Days, Fear into Faith, and one of her other programs. And you did the Success Club program with some of the kids that parents were at the conference. And one of the things that so resonated with me was in again, being a parent and being committed to what you're saying, because I was brought up, I'm listening to you, and by the grace of God, and I mean this, I went to a classical girls' high school where I took Latin, and painting was mandatory, and different things. And so I was, and speaking was mandatory, and writing and so forth. So I was taught to do a lot of what I do today. there, you know, the roots of it. And so with my daughters, you know, was, as I said, you know, exposing them and encouraging them and keeping, you know, and like you said, as I started companies, they were part and parcel of it. And then I've been mentoring others for years and years in the spa and aesthetic world. So, you know, I'm just listening to you, and innately, you know, this is me, so to speak. And that's why I'm not going to stop, Ruthie, because again, it's incumbent upon me to share all of this with people, to give them that hope and that there are infinite possibilities.
Yes.
But what I wanted to say was that, you know, looking at these kids at these conferences, like you bring them up to the stage and you would have them, you know, share, and regardless of, you know, the genius of what they said, but regardless or separate from that, it was the energy of joy that they conveyed that was so compelling to me. They're just, it was glee that they were, you know, together, rubbing off on each other, you know, obviously very highly motivated by you, but they were joyful that they were expanding their horizons. It was
Can
so
I share
clear.
with you? Can I share with you
Please.
how I do that?
Please.
I do not aim to motivate. I aim to inspire, because
Mhm.
motivation is extrinsic. Inspiration is intrinsic. It's
Amen.
in spirit. So
Mhm.
I believe that we are a spirit that has a soul and a body.
Mhm.
So the body is it's the visible part that we can see. But there's two invisible but very real aspects to our being. And
Mhm.
that's your spirit and your soul. And so when I want to inspire a human being, I want to encourage them and facilitate inside of them a desire to grow. And that comes from my belief. That
Mhm.
comes from my belief that they are well able. They're well able to receive what I'm giving them. They're capable. And I put before them an opportunity for them to identify as a champion. I put before them the opportunities to learn, to grow, to develop, and to practice on purpose. Like these things are they're not just taught. They are
Mhm.
taught, but they're also caught. So one is education and one is environment.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you bring that environment with you wherever you go.
Mhm.
People,
Yes.
people are catching on to your energy and your joy and your belief or
Mhm.
lack of everywhere you go. And so I was bringing that into the room. And the most dominant energy always wins. And so
Amen.
the dominant energy, the dominant belief that I facilitate is that you can, you will, you must. You can learn. You will learn this because it's good for you. Like, oh, I believe that I'm good for people.
Right. Yes.
I believe that I'm doing good in the world, and what I'm sharing is valuable. It is good.
Mhm.
And believing that what they're going to receive is going to help them
Mhm.
have tremendous success.
Mhm. Mhm. So now your program for kids, is it online? Can parents purchase it and work, or is it a one-on-one Zoom, or how does it work with the children? The kids
Absolutely. So I
program?
have a program called Success Club,
Mhm.
and how it works is we have virtual Zoom meetings where we work on the skills. We work on our 6M framework, which is we look at our mindset, our mouth, our manners, our mission, our ministry, and our mastery. And we work on different skills and competencies within each of those M's, within each of those parts of the framework. And what we do is we get on Zoom, we connect, we have we have an introduction where the kids and I we build rapport, we connect, we reflect on, hey, how's your week been? We get real. What's going on in your
Mhm.
world?
Mhm.
And then we teach a concept and we break it down. And we practice it. We practice it. Repetition is the mother of skill. So what I do is we literally turn on our microphones. We practice speaking. We practice listening, paying attention, following directions, doing our part, trying our best.
Mhm.
We practice these skills,
Wow.
and we embed it deep inside of our inside of our mind, as well as, we embed it into our nervous system. Like, it's neuro-linguistic programming. We
Mhm.
embed it into our nervous system, and God has gifted me with a unique way to communicate, the way it's easy, simple, and fun, and easily remindable,
Right.
memorable. That's the word.
Right.
And
What are the ages? What are the ages that you work with?
school-age children.
Mhm.
So, K to 12.
Okay.
As well as I work with the parents. So we have multiple calls available per week for people to join, depending on their demographic or their schooling times.
Mhm.
So we have a time for homeschooling parents and cohorts. We have time for public or private schooling children as well. So we have homeschooling children, private or public school children, because we can meet at different times.
Mhm. Gotcha.
Then we have a teens only call, and then we have a parents call, where I coach the parents on how to connect
Mm.
with their children.
Yeah.
Because what I know, again, there's a lot that's not taught. So some of these parents don't have the skills or the competencies to connect with their children because they were never taught.
Exactly. Exactly, Ruthanna. That's
Bridge the
what-
gap.
Yes. Where is the gap? Yes. So in, respect of time, and you will be back, but also the trailer down there, I just wanted people to really glean from your brilliance, your heart, your spirit, what you've done tangibly. But the other piece to you, and what I want our guests to hear and see, is that, oh, no, she didn't rest on her laurels here, folks. No. We're always evolving. We're always, meaning we, that means she, are always evolving. So she has this very, very unique and very powerful program, Success Club, and it's just growing and growing. But she recognized, I'm sure, and you can share this, because I don't know, that you then realized that maybe starting with working with parents, that it was time to then take the Success Club and evolve it to the individual who is aspiring more in their lives, with their not only businesses, but their life. And so share a little bit about that journey, how this next step has been evolving.
Well, thank you. Yes, I would love to. Again, my heart is to always make things easy, simple, and fun, and to multiply what God has given me, to multiply truth, to keep it going. Like, we're called to go and make disciples, be fruitful and multiply. So how do I do that best? Is I can share success secrets that I've learned as far as personal development, which I can share in Success Club. And I'm also educating, equipping, empowering, and releasing a Success Club certification program. So that other coaches who have a similar heart don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to create all this curriculum. You don't have to figure all this out by yourself. I would like to just teach, train, and equip you to take this system and run with it, because they'll be able to reach people I can't reach. And I'm also training people on how to set up their businesses for success, how to set up systems, how to create your offer, how to set things up so that you are not only well educated on how to do the whole process, but also how to market it.
Yes.
How to follow up, how to generate leads, how to follow up with your leads, and it's really how to do business well.
Yes.
Business is just the art of serving people. Again, it's just, how can I add value to your life? And I see a problem, and we create a solution. The problem that I'm seeing is that there are people that are very similar and have a similar like heart, but maybe they haven't created all the curriculum, or they've gathered the people, but they don't know what to teach them. So it's like, you're just bridging those gaps, creating clarity, and helping people to make connections and get the information and out there, because knowledge is potential power. And when it's implemented and enacted, that's when we operate in the fullness of strength.
Now it ignites with action. Action is all important. And without that action, it's just an idea. And nothing will innovate or grow without action. And as I always say, to take that first step, and the second and third step will be revealed to you. But you are doing something that is so important. It's very aligned with my Propel business and life activation program with the 5 C's: clarity, courage, confidence, commitment, and compassion. So that's kind of the primer of it, because people hear it all the time. I want to do something, but I really don't know how to do it.
Mhm.
And they do make things more complicated than it needs to be. But on the other flip of that, it's intimidating, and there are rudiments of it, and that's what you're have put together with this. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
that's how you create leverage in life.
Yes.
I'm fascinated with how things work, and I'm always
Mhm.
trying to pursue
Yes.
truth and find the more efficient way. Sometimes I like to think of myself. This is a little insider for people, but I like to think of myself sometimes like a smart little mouse. Like, how can I navigate the maze and then capitalize on the cheese? And sometimes in life, the maze changes. I mean, oftentimes the maze will change. So then
Oh,
you
yes.
find a new route and you capitalize. And there's just something about how I function and process is my personality and maybe how God's wired me that's how I operate. And one of the ways to capitalize, one of the ways to create leverage is to
Mhm.
find the who's that know how. Is to listen, to learn, to grow, to develop, to place yourself in a position where you're expanding your mind and you're
Mhm.
putting good seeds in your mind for them to flourish and grow
Mhm.
and blossom. And
Mhm.
so I love showing other people the how. I love
Mhm.
systems and processes and frameworks that help
Mhm.
people be successful. I think the core fiber of my being, maybe similar to yours, is education. It's educating people, giving them that potential power
Yes.
so they can take action. And
So let's stay a minute on this, because the other piece to it, I touched on this earlier, how there is so much confusion, especially on social media. You hear, my 5-day this, my 3-day that, my whatever. And it's, where do you start? Who do you start with? Why do you start with that person? And what I really want to focus on here is, number one, you were still in academia and you started exploring personal development. Well, I don't know this, but I do know this, that you probably were already doing that, because that's who you are. But so I want you to share, Ruthanna, a bit, because again, I want to have people, our guests, really hear our sincerity on that. We are not just a 5-day program. We are here to help you on an ongoing basis. But so I want you just to go back to, how did you start and how did you ferret out, all the noises back there 8 years ago of who to listen to, and your journey of self-development?
oh, it's a big question.
Oh,
Um,
just briefly, I mean,
it's a good one. It's a good one. I would say that it was through prayer and just continuing to take the opportunities made available to me. First you have to have the first thing anybody ever has to do is create a compelling vision for your life, identifying what it is that you want and why you want it, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Funny enough, not something I ever did in school. There was no class called, your vision board class or casting a vision for your life. You're just told what to do. And I think part of the first steps was getting a vision for my life and hearing, being a person of faith. I mean, I feel like there were things that God shared with me, and when people shared what God was saying about me to me, people would share like, there is something that you're called to do in the world. You do have an assignment. You do have a reason and a purpose of why you're here. And discovering that purpose, I think, is number one.
Mhm.
And in discovering like personal development, I had a moment. I mean, I had a moment where I began to envision what I wanted for my life. And I had no idea how to get there. I had no clue. I remember I was sitting in a conference and I was just being like nurtured and nourished and fed by the content. And I had that moment where I just wished that me and the speaker could trade places and that I wouldn't just be a consumer, that I want to just be a receiver, but I could be a facilitator. I'm like, that's what I want to do. I want to be the person on stage
You
who is
had that epiphany. You had that epiphany.
yeah, who is sharing, who is educating, who is equipping, who's empowering, who's using story and structures and systems and frameworks to help other people collapse time and create success and create results. And so I feel like having, seeing what it is that I wanted and being able to latch onto it and to do it in a way that aligned with my values. I think, it's identifying your vision, but also identifying your values and what's your why. If you look deep in your story, you'll find pain points. Inside your pain points is the how you want to serve the world. It becomes your mission. If you look at like a Venn diagram where three things intersect, it's going to be your passion intersects with your skills and the skills that you learn from overcoming pain, and where the market will pay for that solution. Where all of those, where those three circles intersect, in the middle is your mission. It's your story. It's your assignment. It's how you help the world. It's how you serve other people. It's how you alleviate suffering and pain. And that's what my heart is. I even maybe it goes back to my encourager died, so I want to be an encourager. I saw a need, so I filled it. I saw an open space, and so I became the solution. And that's what I feel like is maybe not. That's what I feel like is the first step, is identifying, what is the vision for your life.
Right. It's identifying. Yes, you cannot start and create. That's why clarity is so important. You have to identify, yes, what it is. So so I'm going to ask you this. Do you feel that, it's a hard question, but other than coming to you and me, being facetious, but is it a slippery slope to find a coach and a mentor?
No, I don't think it is. I do think that it's something where you get to invest in someone that you feel a connection with, that you feel is aligned with you.
Right.
It's like, you want to work with people that like, and trust. You want to go work on, leveraging your resources versus always finding a new person or finding a new way for everything you do. Right. You call your trusted people before you just open up what used to be the phone book, before you Google it, right? And so I would work your network to see who it is that you can connect with.
Well, that's it. Sure.
And finding those who's that know how, and investing in yourself. So you create a compelling vision for your life, you identify what you want and why you want it, then you start working towards it. Yes. And that's what creates this beautiful thing called progress. Yeah. And progress is what makes you happy. Progress is what gives you a sense of accomplishment and joy and success. And so I think that those are key aspects, and key points are really finding those, identifying the answers to those questions, and then finding people who can help you get there faster.
Yeah. And like you said, who resonate with you and that you align with. That's the key. Really, don't just jump off at every shiny penny out there, but go to your resources, as you said, and find that party that align with you. So it's such, what you have shared in this brief time, my friend, you said when we were in the green room, oh goodness, such a short time and so much information, but I think we've done a good job in distilling it and helping people realize that there is truly help is on the way, meaning there are truly people like you, Miss Ruthanna, to help them parent better, or parent for today with this information, a time of life. Because otherwise, if you're in that other piece that has not changed at all, they're going to be lost. And so how would you, in this last few minutes, and we'll have you back over time, to share some other things that you're doing and will be continuing to do, but how would you leave today with our guests meaning from a family position, children and themselves, and also career? How would you just kind of pull it all together?
Invest in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I would just say invest in yourself. Invest the time, energy, and money it takes to become the person that you've always dreamt of being, to have the things you've always wanted to have, to do the things you've always wanted to do. You get to see yourself as powerful, capable, and valuable. And, you're good soil. You are your highest ROI. There's nothing that you could purchase or invest in that will have a higher ROI than you. You are you listening, you watching, you are a very powerful person. You have potential, you have gifts, you have skills, you have talent, and you get to cultivate it. And so my biggest piece of advice that I could share, that I could leave you with today is see yourself as magnificent and valuable, and invest in you. Invest in you. Whether it looks like you are reading a book, or you're joining a club or a community, or you're opting into coaching. You're like, I really value myself, so I'm going to really work on creating these skills that are going to help me to prosper, and eliminating the limitations. We have limited beliefs that pop up. We have programming that's not the best for us, that, your brain is just going to continue to run that pattern on default until you disrupt it by design. And so when you find messages, people, thought leaders, coaches, mentors, pastors that speak to you, maybe it's an Instagram reel.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that you watched it twice, or you saved it, or you're thinking about calling that person. You're thinking about signing up for that program. You're thinking about reading that book. Maybe it's in your Amazon shopping cart. I would encourage you to do something today to invest in yourself, and invest in your future, and invest in your children. And your future self is going to thank you.
Amen. And that's what they're doing today by listening to us on the Propel Deep Dive.
That's right.
Investing time and knowing that people like yourself are joining me each week to share information that will propel their business and life. It's such an honor, such a joy to have you, my friend, with us today. Really, I so enjoyed this. So I look forward to having you again, and thank you.
Bye.
Wow. I knew that you would so enjoy Ruthanna. I have as well, listening to she at conferences, and I've gotten to know her personally, but it breaking, to me, what's most important is with all of this, with growth, is breaking things down into small, manageable parts where you can take on the information and receive it. And then that can be marinated in your mind, in your spirit, and take action with it. And she has given such facts, structure of factual information, but also gleaning just an overview from your children, your family, yourself. And I encourage you to reach out to Ruthanna and know more about Success Club for your family as well as for yourself. So I look forward to you having that opportunity. So this is what Propel Deep Dive is about, where every week we have guests like Ruthanna Sonntag who share their amazing journeys and who are doing things like last week with Sue Phillips, the fragrance queen, who just during the COVID pandemic, really started educating on the sense of smell because so many people lost it. And now she has tutorials about that. And so there's so many things that you will glean from listening to these Propel Deep Dives. And so I encourage you to join us on the Propel community, where, as I said, every day you receive what I call the Propel Daily of inspiration and encouragement. And then a weekly newsletter, as well as the deep dive that is every Wednesday evening, and then events that we're doing all throughout the year to help you start, scale, and sustain the business and life of your dreams. So I look forward to having you with me next Wednesday on the Propel Deep Dive. And in the meantime, do join us in the Propel community, and also listen to this again on YouTube, the Megan DiMartino Propel business page. So thank you so much for joining us, and I will see you again next week. Be blessed.
Hello, peace. Hello, joy.